The check comes. It sits on the table. You wait for him to reach for it. You think he's waiting for you to reach for it. You continue your strained end-of-meal conversation, wondering who's going to reach for it first. Who picks up the check is an emotionally fraught first date ritual that leaves a lot of people highly disappointed. Today I'm going to explain to you what men should do and what women should do that makes this never have to get weird again. Stick around. I'm Marc, Katz, dating coach for smart, strong, successful women and your personal trainer for love. Welcome to the Love You podcast. Keep listening to learn who should pay for the first date. When we're done, I'll let you know how you could apply to Love You to create a passionate relationship that makes you feel safe, heard, and understood. So I want to begin with a favorite story. I wrote about this on my blog 15 years ago. I don't get a chance to recycle it very often, but it's a 100% true story from my late single days in my early 30s. I was working at JDate, answering phones in customer service, and I met a woman who was super impressive, attractive, bright. She was a psychologist, if I recall. Certainly had a more impressive career than I did in customer service. And we went out 3-4 times over a couple of weeks, and it was increasing in intimacy and frequency. I was kind of excited about her. We were getting moving along sexually, and I think end of the third date, I spent the night and bought her bagels the next morning. And it was after, the original courtship of taking her out to a couple, $75 dinners. And I hate to talk about money, but it's sort of relevant. So there was a normal courtship process, spent the night, traded her breakfast the next morning. And at the end of that, she's like, oh my God, I got to get the next one, which I thought was a really nice gesture considering she presumably made at least twice as much money as I did. So I was appreciative, and I was working in customer service, and I get a phone call. And she says, I found this play. I think we're going to love it. It was something about sex. I think the play was called It's Just Sex or something like that. She's like, this sounds really great. I'm at work. You're at JDate. So can you call and get us tickets to the play? And this is, again, after she said she was going to get the next date. And I'm making $32,000 a year at this point. Doing the best that I can. So she says she can pick up the date, discovers a play, tells me to get tickets for it. Suck it up, I get the tickets for it, and tells me she's going to pick up dinner beforehand, which is, again, a nice gesture. It's not a big deal, but it's a nice gesture. So, check comes at the end of the meal before we're supposed to go to the play. She throws down her credit card, goes to the bathroom. I hand the credit card to the server. She comes back and sees that she's got the only check. I didn't reach in and take her credit card or split her credit card. And she looks me square in the eye, and I swear to God, she says, what am I, your sugar mama? No joke. What am I, your sugar mama? Because I let her pick up the $40 cheap Chinese meal that she offered to pick up. What am I, your sugar mama? We went through the motions and the rest of the date. I left her at the end of the night, didn't follow up again. Later explained to her why I didn't follow up again, because she was really surprised because she thought everything was going swimmingly. And she disputes my version of the story. I don't know there's another version of the story, but it's a great, great story to know to some degree what it's like to be a guy, especially a guy who's not rolling in it, who feels like he's being taken for granted of and is being valued on his willingness and ability to pay. So get that out of the way. I know you came here for advice. I wanted to tell you that story because I don't think that dynamic has changed that much. I think we still have a set of expectations around it. And I really want to walk you through how we got here and what I think is the most effective way to move forward. So as I've said previously, the chivalry of a man paying for everything is a vestige of a time before women had education, before women had jobs, And it's come to be conflated with how much a man values a woman. That's what chivalry is about. It's not about the money, it's about the gesture. And as a dating coach for women, even though I don't necessarily believe that how much a man spends says that much about him as an individual, because there's a whole bunch of rich douchebags out there, I do believe in general that a man's willingness to pick up the check in early phase dating is a decent proxy to illustrate whether he's serious about the act of courtship. Got it? We can agree on that. So let's keep this relatively simple and relatively concise. Since women love it when guys pick up the check, it seems to me to be wise for guys to pick up the check. This is not about whether it's fair, because it's not. This is about whether it works, whether it's effective, whether it's largely going to help procure a second date or deny you a second date. Men will objectively do much better on first dates if they pick up the entire check, no questions asked. As far as your role as a woman, right, what do? Stop sitting on your hands and acting like it's his obligation or joy to pick up the check. It's not. You're a stranger from a dating site. Right? Flip it around. If you had to pick up the check for all the guys you went out with, how would you feel? There, you understand. So it's an act of generosity, and it should be treated as such, not an obligation. So the same way that I said at the top of this, I think it's effective, it works well for men who are trying to make a good impression to pick up the check. I think it's most effective for women to reach for their wallets and offer to split the check right after he reaches for it. A little bit of a game, I will explain. So you reach for your wallet, he's already reached for the check, right? Oh, I've got it. Sometimes the guy's gonna say, no, I've got this, and he's gonna insist on paying for the whole thing, which is lovely. Sometimes he's gonna take you up on your offer to reach and let you split the check. That's okay too. Either way, you're covered. Why? Because you did the right thing. By demonstrating to him that you don't take him for granted, you don't see him as a walking wallet, and you're an independent woman who's interested in equal partnership. Just the reach symbolizes all of that. Now, the key to making this work is by not getting upset or taking it personally if he accepts your offer. If you offer to split the check and then judge him for doing so, this is nothing better than some sort of shit test to see if a guy is generous. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to demonstrate that you're generous, not test him. We want to show by the act of even reaching, when we assume the default is that most guys are going to take care of it. The act of reaching shows that you're appreciative, shows that you're generous of spirit, and that's what most men want to know. The alternatives to what I just presented are, 1, insist on splitting the check rather than offer. Mine was an offer. Some women insist on splitting the check, and that's kind of common in Europe, but it also makes this feel more like a business meeting rather than a date. And I think objectively, both are not the look that you're going for. A few common issues that I have heard over the years when I present this to women. Number 1, this is my opinion about what works both for men. Pick up the check, no questions asked, during courtship. Now, most men haven't listened to my thoughts on this, nor do they know about the made-up rules that are in your head about how guys should pick up the check. So this is just my take on it. And finally, last but not least, I am aware that splitting the check is a common technique to let a guy know that you're not interested in him and that you don't owe him anything. That's fine. It's when you're with a guy that you do like. It costs nothing for you to reach for your wallet and make an offer. So do you see the logic behind the reach? Do you see why good men would appreciate women who don't take them for granted? If you're watching on YouTube, please comment below and let me know your thoughts. Otherwise, try taking this technique out for a spin. See how men receive you. I think you're going to like it. My name is Marc Katz. Thanks for tuning into the Love You podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click on the subscribe button, ring the bell, choose all to ensure you get notified when new content comes out. If you're listening on the audio podcast, please share an honest review on Apple. More reviews is more awareness of the Love You podcast and more love in the world. And if you're ready to find love right now and you're committed to making healthier choices with men so you could have that easy, happy, safe, heard, and understood relationship, click on the link below, apply to Love You, and I will take care of you. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon.